Hey everybody, Jeff Davis here, and right now I am walking up to the top of Gellert Hill here in Budapest, Hungary, one of my favorite cities in the world. Beautiful city. And I wanted to share a few thoughts with you here today on how to deal with the people who stab you in the back, who pretend to be your friend, who pretend to support you, but then they end up sabotaging your efforts and they stab you in the back and they trash you and they gossip about you. And this is a very, very real thing. Forgive me if I'm out of breath. It's a really good workout to walk up this hill here. So as we head to the mountaintop. So what I really want to talk about with you here today is how we can more effectively deal with people like that so that we can reach our own mountaintops. As I live in Rotterdam, Netherlands, and as I grow my own business as an entrepreneur, a professional speaker, a writer, and a coach. I'm actually a writer first and foremost, and then spanning off of that, or sort of breaking down off of that, is the coaching and the speaking. While I do that, I have to support myself with contracting and consulting and other things like that. So I was working as a consultant with a particular contract, and that contract was ending. No big deal. It was leaving with this particular company on good terms as a consultant. I was wrapping up my mission. They were very happy with me. They provided me references, etc. So I had to find another opportunity. So I got a new contract opportunity. I'm there now. It's a great freelancing opportunity. And while I'm there, I find out from the person I'm reporting into that this guy I used to work with, who again I was very friendly with, said all of these nasty things about me. And it gets bad. I mean, look, I know everyone has different opinions, and there are things that we all are good at, and there are things we're not good at. I'm not talking about like constructive feedback about me, or maybe things I can improve, but also talking about some of the things I do well. I mean, this guy had a personal beef with me. He tried to stop me from getting this contract opportunity. He really went below the belt. He said all these nasty things about me, and the guy who ended up bringing me onto the team said, I read it. I read what this guy said about you, and he said it was not fact-based. It didn't look like it was legitimate. It was a personal beef he had with you. And this is someone who I was friendly with when I worked with him. And you know what the guy I was reporting to said? He said, Jeff, he's jealous of you. He's got to be jealous of you, because there's no other reason for him to be so friendly to your face and then stab me in the back and say all these nasty things about me and try to prevent me from getting this role. The reason he messaged this company is because he actually knew other people who worked there, or he knew one other person who worked there. So that's how the initial connection was made, and he said all of these nasty things about me. So very, very unexpected. I know there's good eggs and there's bad eggs, but this was someone who I definitely did not expect to do this. Someone who was really friendly, someone who I got lunches with and I went on walks with, someone who said that he wanted to be featured in my next book. I mean, this is a guy who I thought was a really, really friendly dude. I even considered reaching out to him to stay in touch, to grab coffee, to keep the connection going. So it was very, very unexpected when this happened. Now, interestingly enough, his feedback ended up getting elevated to some of the top people at the whole company. Apparently, it was a whole deliberation. Should we bring on Jeff or not? It's ridiculous. And apparently this guy's feedback, the guy who stabbed me in the back and said all these nasty things that weren't true and didn't have basis in reality, his feedback got elevated to the CEO of the company that I am now contracting with, and they deliberated and they talked about it, and they said, we need to bring Jeff on. He's good at what he does in digital marketing. Those are my core skills as a freelancer and consultant. I do a lot of digital marketing. Jeff is good at what he does, and actually, Jeff, myself, as they were talking about me, they said he also got good references from previous managers and previous people he worked with. So although I got brutally bashed and stabbed in the back by this fake friend, there actually were a number of people who spoke well about me, and those positive reviews and references were enough to outweigh the cowardly backstabber. When I call him a coward, please know it is no hard feelings. I could be saying actually a lot worse things about him. I've also heard other people say negative things about him, so I could could, I'm not, but I could stoop to his level and bash him back. We're actually connected on LinkedIn, really fake guy. But when I call him a coward, I really do not mean it in a hard feelings kind of way. I want to clarify this because sometimes I say things like this and people say, well, are you bitter? Are you angry? I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I've reflected on it. It's not a big deal. It happens. I'm sharing it to add value to your life because there are so many backstabbers out there and so many fake people. I truly believe and know in my heart we need to talk about this and we need to get it in the open. There's a lot of fake people in the world. It makes life hard. It almost stopped me from getting a contract opportunity, which I need to pay the bills. I mean, this could be written off by people who say, okay, someone said some cruel things about you, Jeff. Who cares? I get that mindset, but we need to talk about this so that we can more effectively deal with those people who pretend to be our friends and then they stab us right in the back, square in the back, like not just nick us on the side or kind of bruise us a little bit, but just bam, right in the back. Someone who you think is your friend. I mean, I'm not talking about people who you know are critics and haters. Actually, I will say this. I respect haters and critics more than fake people. I'm not kidding with you. I respect someone who can tell me to my face, Jeff, I don't like what you're doing because of da-da-da-da-da, or you could have done this better, da-da-da-da-da. I respect that. I will hear that feedback. I won't listen to all of it because not all of it applies, but some of it can be good feedback. So I actually respect honest haters and critics more than fake friends who are friendly to your face and make it seem like they're a positive part in your life, but then they actively try to sabotage you. I'm not even against people who might be a little bit fake and then they don't really do anything. Fine, I'll take that. But the worst kinds of people are the ones who are friendly to your face and they actually make it seem like they're your friend. They do things with you, lunches and coffees and hanging out and wanting to be a part of your endeavors. I mean, this guy who stabbed me in the back wanted to be in my next book. He wanted to supposedly support me. He was commenting on my LinkedIn post. I mean, his backstabbing almost doesn't make sense except for the fact that beneath people's fake smiles are these cowardly losers who try to sabotage people. So all of this combined is really trying to tell you that we need to talk about this and put it out into the open so that we can transcend the haters, the backstabbers, the cowards, and make an unbelievable difference in this world and put ourselves out there regardless of what they're saying, regardless of their sabotage. Look, I ended up getting the contract opportunity. So this guy who said all these nasty things about me didn't block me from getting this very much needed opportunity. It really was just his opinion. At the end of the day, it was his opinion and nothing else. At the same time, it wasn't nothing because his extremely negative and uncalled for comments about me, had they achieved his purpose, which was to block me from the opportunity, that would have really hurt because at that point in time, I really needed the opportunity to pay the bills. I didn't have too many other contract and consulting opportunities lined up, so I needed it. But I got through it. The CEO and the people that I report to at this particular company didn't take his opinion with too much value because of these other positive things they heard about me. At the end of the day, your opinion is what matters most. Not the opinions of others, but your opinion. The greatest lie of all is that other people's opinions count more than yours do. You can hear other perspectives, you can hear other opinions, but at the end of the day, your opinion matters the most. Okay, so let's get to the core value of this video. And I know I could have jumped to this immediately. I definitely could have, and it wouldn't have been a bad video if I had done that. But in my opinion, adding the context and my own experiences around these tips give them more meaning, more power, more validity, and they can hopefully resonate with you even more. So first tip for dealing with people who stab you right directly in the back is to remember the other people who you do get along with. Think about the genuine people and the authentic connections, both at your company and in your life in general. And that sounds maybe pretty simple and easy, but when we get these negative things said about us, it becomes incredibly easy to get sucked into those negative opinions. I do this all the time. and forget about all the good things that other people who do really care about us have to say about us. So my reminder to you is, when you hear these incredibly uncalled for comments about you, stop and actually think about and remember the people who are supporting you and who are authentic and who aren't faking it to your face, but actually do really support you and like you. And if you can remember that, that will really help you. Second tip, when you're stabbed right in the back, is to use those comments as added motivation. Use those comments as added motivation. Now, I know again that when you get stabbed in the back and when people are saying negative things about you, it can hurt sometimes so much that you start to doubt yourself a little bit and maybe even slow up some of your efforts. Look, their comments maybe have like a tiny degree of truth in them. I mean, for this guy who stabbed me in the back, they had just about no truth whatsoever. He was just an extremely jealous person. I ended up, at my previous consulting opportunity, I ended up reporting directly to the CEO. I ended up being able to work on my own terms. I had a few work from home days each month. He didn't have anything close to that. No judgment here, no comparison. I'm just telling you perhaps why he was so incredibly jealous. But when you do get these comments and when you do get these unfair, backstabbing people, you can actually use it as added motivation to put yourself out there even more. Had that not happened, maybe I would have never done this video. Maybe I wouldn't have been able to add the kind of value that I wanted to add to your life here today. So use it as added motivation and actually make it as fuel to your fire to keep going. Third tip for dealing with backstabbers, people who are fake, people who pretend to be your friend and they end up betraying you, to put it very bluntly. No hard feelings, of course. The third tip that I want to leave you with here today is, when you're processing all of these negative comments, be grateful. Be grateful. Now, no, you didn't mishear me. I said to actually be grateful, and I don't mean this as a joke or an exaggeration. Be grateful that there are both people who like you and people who don't like you. It means that you're getting the whole entire spectrum of opinions, and that's part of the game of being an influencer. That's part of the game of putting yourself out there. I know that it's not fun to hear these comments, but it can also keep you grounded. Never get too up on someone's good opinion of you and never get too down on someone's bad opinion of you. It can very much help to keep you grounded. I know sometimes I get very excited when people say they like my work, and I can sometimes feel like $1,000,000, and I put in the music and I feel really good about myself, and that's okay. But when I get these negative comments, and perhaps you can do the same, it helps me to stay grounded and level and realize that there's always going to be people who like you and there's always going to be people who don't like you, and that's part of it. So you can sort of put the negativity in perspective and realize there's always going to be people who both agree and disagree with you, who like you and don't like you, who support you and don't support you. I think what made this experience so especially hard for me, for myself, is because I thought he was someone who was authentic. So I'm pretty good about weeding out fake people from non-fake people. And okay, I had a few minor red flags with this guy, but I really did think that he had my best interest at heart. So it was indeed quite shocking. But if you can be grateful for this negative feedback, keep yourself grounded, never get too up and never get too down, it actually can help you stay level. Don't get too high on yourself. Don't get too low on yourself. Okay, this guy stabbed me in the back. Well, I'm going to stay level, and I'm not going to get too low about that, but I'm also not going to get too high when people completely love what I'm doing. And for you, it's the exact same. There will be some people who like you and get you and understand you, and there will be other people who are fake and pretend to support you, but they gossip about you, or pretend to like you and they really dislike you at their core. But those different opinions and the different feedback and the whole spectrum is what can very much keep you grounded. And when you stay grounded, that's exactly when you can live in neutrality and go on fire, become on fire, live your purpose, become bulletproof, disregard all of these good and bad opinions of other people. I love a quote by one of the authors that I enjoy reading, Deepak Chopra. Deepak Chopra says, be completely independent of both the good and bad opinions of other people. And it's not easy. It's a lot easier said than done. But if you can remind yourself of doing that, it will very much help you to keep going. Remember, your opinion at the end of the day is the one that counts the most. You may hear some valuable feedback from others, constructive criticism, that's great. I have friends that I very much like talking to who give me constructive feedback all the time. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm improving. That's awesome. But when you get people who are just flat out manipulative and vindictive and jealous and fake, those people, you need to remember these tips. These tips to think about the other people who you do have authentic connections with. Don't isolate yourself. Use their comments as added motivation and actually be grateful that you're seeing the whole spectrum of opinions in the world, because it helps you stay level, grounded, and neutral. And before we end this video, I'd like to ask you to, in the comments below, please tell me, have you overcome anyone who has stabbed you in the back? How have you felt? What were your tactics, your methods? What were your approach? I'd love to know. Please tell me. We're learning here from each other. So have you been stabbed in the back? What did you do? How did you overcome it? How are you dealing with it? Maybe you're still dealing with it now. I am myself. So please tell me. Also, like the video. That will help more people find it. Subscribe to my channel, always giving you lots of great value. And feel free to share this video around with anyone who may benefit from these tips. From the bottom of my heart, I share this as an authentic way to add value to your life, to transmute and transform my own experiences, to share with you a beautiful and powerful lesson and insights that will indeed and could help you in your life. Really appreciate you tuning into this video. Stay true to yourself. Forget the people who stab you in the back. Never get too up, never get too down. And I will see you, my friend, at the mountaintop.